Hi everyone, it's me, Spring the Fiber Enthusiast, and welcome to the channel. Today's tutorial is going to be a Tunisian crochet tutorial, and it is going to be for an ear warmer, headband, and depending on the height of the actual pattern part that you decide to make, you could even turn it into a cowl, neck warmer. Entirely up to you. I'm going to give you the multiples and show you how to do the repeats and join in the round and let you take it from there. So this is done in the flat and join in the round. All right, it's super thick, nice and squishy. Lots and lots of squishiness going on there. Very warm on your ears. All right, so for this, it fit a medium to smaller head. So say young adult, and for this, it was 48 chains. So now I'm going to make a smaller one in front of you. But if you would like to make yours bigger, you're going to be doing it in multiples of 2. So for this one, I chained a total of 48 stitches. I'm going to do 40 stitches for my chain in front of you. So it will be slightly smaller. We're talking toddler size. Okay. Maybe even baby size. So you will need some worsted weight yarn. I am just using some leftover Dazzle Air that I have and a 6mm Tunisian crochet hook. You might need a tape measure to measure the circumference of the head that you would like to make this for. If you're uncertain, what you would do is measure the circumference. So say mine is somewhere around 23 inches. I would chain to 23 inches in a number divisible by 2. Now, it may be a little bit more or a little bit less to get the number divisible by 2, but I'm going to get as close to that 23 inches as I possibly can. You'll also need a pair of scissors and a darning needle, obviously, to sew in your ends and cut away from your yarn. Now you can do this in multiple colors. You can do this in a solid color, which I have done here. I may decide when I get started to do this in 2 colors, like I did the crocheted version. I did the ribbing at the bottom and the top in 1 color and the center design in another color. We'll see how it goes. But for now, I am going to start right here with orange and a chain of 40. You can go ahead and chain your amount of chains divisible by 2. And at that point, we're going to work a Tunisian simple stitch foundation row. We're going to pick up all our stitches. We're going to do a back pass, all of that wonderful foundation row to Tunisian. So I'm going to go ahead and chain my 40. I will come back and show you what to do next, and we'll work through that all together. Okay, so once you have your chain, we are going to go through and do a Tunisian simple stitch through the chain back bumps, the spine of the chain. So we have the front where we see these V's. And if you turn it on its side, you see these bumps on the back. That's what we're working into, picking up stitches. So we're going to go into the very next stitch, the very next bump, and yarn over and pull up a loop. Now you're going to continue that all the way to the end of the chain into each of the back bumps of the chain. And at the end, you should have the same number of loops on your hook as chains you chained. Once I have reached the end, I'll come back and show you how to do the reverse pass, and then we will start our pattern. All right, let's go ahead and do our standard reverse pass. We're going to yarn over and chain 1. That makes it the next row. Now we're going to yarn over and go through 2, yarn over, go through 2, and you're going to continue that until you have exhausted all but 1 loop on your hook. So continue removing 2 at a time here. Yarn over, go through 2, yarn over, go through 2, all the way till there's 1 loop left on your hook, at which point I'll be back and we will begin our next row. Okay, so once you have completed your back pass and you are down to 1 loop left on your hook, we're going to repeat the following. And this is for the ribbing for the headband, and it'll be at the bottom and the top of the headband, or cowl if you choose to do a cowl. So we're going to Tunisian purl stitch the next 2 stitches. So you're skipping this first one because it's already worked. It's on your hook now. So you're going to bring that yarn in front of your hook and go under your next vertical bar stitch. Bring the yarn around behind the hook, and I just kind of pinch that yarn down below the hook, yarn over and pull up a loop and adjust it. Again, we're going to do the next one the same way. And then we're going to Tunisian knit stitch the next 2 stitches. So you're going to go between those 2 vertical bars. You have a front and a back vertical bar. You're going to go between them all the way to the back, yarn over, and pull up a loop. That's all there is to the Tunisian knit stitch. We're going to do that 1 more time. And this is your repeat. Tunisian purl, 2, 1, and 2, and Tunisian knit 2, 1, and 2. And you're going to repeat those 2, Tunisian purl, Tunisian knit, all the way to the very end. When we get to the end, we're going to do a standard Tunisian simple stitch to this very last stitch. So I'll come back at that point and walk you through the start of the reverse pass and tell you what to do next. Okay, so I'm down here at the end to my 40th stitch. Now I'm just going to Tunisian simple stitch this last stitch by turning it on its side, picking up both legs of this last stitch here. Like that, yarning over and pulling up a loop. So now we're going to do the reverse pass. The reverse pass is just a standard Tunisian reverse pass. So you're going to yarn over and chain 1, and then yarn over, go through 2, yarn over, go through 2, and continue that until you have exhausted all but 1 loop on your hook. All right, I've reached the end. I have 1 loop left on my hook, and now I'm just going to repeat what I did previously. I'm going to Tunisian purl the first 2 stitches, Tunisian knit the next 2, and repeat. Tunisian purl the next 2, and Tunisian knit the next 2. And I'm going to continue on until I've reached the end. Then I'm just going to repeat my Tunisian reverse pass, and I'll be back when I have got to the end of the reverse pass, and I will show you the 2-row repeat for the pattern. Okay, so now I've completed essentially 2 rows of ribbing, 2x2 ribbing. Now we're going to start our pattern repeat. It is a 2-row repeat. And to complete a row, we are going to work all the way across. The Tunisian reverse pass all the way back will stay the same for every return. The only thing that will change is your forward pass. So we're going to begin the 2-row repeat now. So now we're going to work across and we're going to increase every stitch. You're going to find your front vertical bar and Tunisian simple stitch. Then you're going to find the back vertical bar to the same stitch and Tunisian simple stitch it. So the front, then the back, which you will have to pull them apart to get that back one. And we're just Tunisian simple stitching every stitch all the way across twice. So we're Tunisian simple stitch the front leg and then the back leg by picking up that back leg and Tunisian simple stitch. So Tunisian simple stitch the front and then reach back and grab that back leg and Tunisian simple stitch it. Now you're going to do that all the way down to the very last stitch. On the very last stitch, you're going to Tunisian simple stitch it only one time. Just like the first stitch is 1, the last stitch will be 1. So we're increasing every single stitch in between the first one and the last one. I'm going to be back when I get to the end and show you how to pick up that last stitch and then begin your reverse pass. Okay, so here I am down at the very end. Again, you're just going to pick up the 2 legs of the very last stitch, yarn over, and pull up a loop. Now we're going to do our Tunisian reverse pass by yarning over, chaining 1, yarn over, and go through 2. Yarn over, go through 2, yarn over, go through 2. And you're going to continue that until you have 1 loop left on your hook. At that point, we will begin the second row of our 2-row repeat for the center pattern of our ear warmer. Okay, so I am down at the very end, and you will see that it is extra squiggly, lots of stitches. That's because we did our increase round or row. Now we're going to do our decrease row. This is the second row of the repeat. So to accomplish your decrease, we're going to bring the yarn to the front and we're going to pick up the next 2 vertical bars here and Tunisian knit stitch them together. So Tunisian knit stitch 2 together. Then we're going to Tunisian knit stitch the next 2 together. So I'm going to go underneath both of those legs and out the back. So the next 2 stitches, going to go between the front and back and then out the back of the last one. Yarn over and pull that loop through. And that's your repeat to the very last stitch where we just Tunisian simple stitch the last stitch. So Tunisian purl 2 together. Tunisian knit 2 together. Tunisian purl 2 together. Tunisian knit 2 together. And you're going to continue this all the way to the very end, and then you will do a Tunisian reverse pass. That will complete your 2-row repeats, an increase row and a decrease row. Now you can do those 2 repeats as many times as you would like. For this particular one, I did it 3 times. Now, for this one, it is approximately 3 3/4 inches in height. That is with the 3 repeats of the pattern and the total of 4 rib stitches. So 2 at the bottom and 2 up at the top. That's what I have for this one. Now, if you're making it a cowl, you're going to go a lot more repeats before you finish with your Tunisian 2x2 ribbing. If you're making it shorter, that's fine. You're going to just not do 3 repeats. I'm going to go ahead and continue on with the repeat a couple of times, and then I'll come back and we'll go through the repeat for the rib stitch one more time together. All right, so I've repeated the repeat twice now, and now we're going to go back and do the 2x2 ribbing for 2 rows to complete this. So I'm going to bring the yarn to the front and Tunisian purl the first 2 stitches. So Tunisian purl and Tunisian purl. And then you're going to Tunisian knit, stitch the next 2 stitches. Tunisian purl the next 2, and Tunisian knit the following 2. And you're going to continue that all the way to the very end of the row, at which point you will Tunisian simple stitch the very last stitch. Do your reverse pass as you have been doing. Then you're going to repeat the 2x2 ribbing, Tunisian purl stitch 2, Tunisian knit stitch 2 for 1 more row, and repeat the reverse pass. At that point, I will be back and show you what to do next. Okay, for the cast off row, the last and final row before we seam it together, we're going to Tunisian simple stitch the next stitch and slip stitch. Tunisian simple stitch the next stitch and slip stitch. So that is the repeat all the way to the end, and you're going to want to make sure that they're slightly loose so that way your edging is not super tight. You want to make sure that you have enough give in there. So just draw up the loop a little bit and then pull it through. Like that. So we're going to work this all the way to the end, and I'll be back and show you how to seam the 2 ends together, and you will be finished with the Tunisian super squishy headband. If you're wondering, the size that I am currently making will fit a newborn to toddler size, and the darker color here fits, as I said, a young adult, larger child, but not quite an adult. You would have to add a few more stitches to make it adult size. Okay, so once you've made it all the way to the end, I'm going to chain 2, and what that's going to do is just create a knot here at the top of the last stitch. And then I'm going to cut about a 6-inch tail for what I have here. You're going to want a long enough tail that you can sew the 2 ends of this fabric together. So I'm just going to cut about 6 inches. That should do it. I'm going to pull that through, pinch down on that chain 2 and pull the tail and push those chains to the fabric like that. Okay, so now we're going to take this with the right side in and bring the two ends together like this. And if you turn them so that way you can see the edge of both of those, we're going to be working in these outside legs of both stitches, both sides of the stitches. So I'm going to go ahead and lace up my needle. And to start with, I like to catch that very first stitch on the opposite side under both legs to give it a nice secure attachment. And then I'm going to come over and do the same thing on the opposite side. Now I'm connected nice and securely at the top. And now we're going to come down here to the leg closest to me and the leg the furthest from me. Pull it through, come across, and we're going to do that to the next set of stitches. And you're going to work that all the way down until you have put together both ends. So I'm just going to keep working down the side here. Just like this. Then when you get to the bottom, you're going to do the same thing you did at the top by catching both legs of the very last stitches, so that way you give a good secure finish to sewing this together at both the top and the bottom. Just about done here. All right, we're to our last set of stitches. I'm going to go under both of those legs here of that stitch, and the same thing on the opposite side. I want to catch both of the legs to that stitch, and I'm going to pull that through. So now we're connected in the round, and you can kind of adjust things a little bit so that way it gets nice and tight and there's no loose stitches. And then you can turn it the other way and see your join right here. The last thing to do would be to sew in the ends, and then you are done with the super squishy Tunisian ear warmer. I hope that you have enjoyed this tutorial. If you have any further questions, please feel free to ask either in the comment section below or by sending me an email. If you do make this, I would love to see it. You can share it in the Facebook group. You can share it on Instagram and tag me in it. You can also send it to me in an email. Please check out all of the links below down in the description box, where you can help support the channel by using the Patreon link and or how to get a hold of me in multiple ways. Be blessed, be a blessing, and until next time, bye for now.